What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm creating my own cardboard stencils and I'm using upcycled cardboard to make them. Then I'll use those stencils to create 3 super fun beach-inspired art canvases. If you're new here, I'm Jen and this is Valley Buzzsaw. Welcome! I'm a displaced beach bum and sometimes I like to create stuff just to see if I can. If you like DIY projects and DIY home improvement, then be sure to subscribe below and do all the things to get notifications. I started today's project by gathering some canvases and cardboard and taking measurements. Then I promptly got way ahead of myself and started drawing. Slow your roll there, lady. Before I can show off my complete lack of drawing abilities, first, I need to get the cardboard cut to size. For this project, I upcycled some on-hand items, but I did have to pick up a few things, so if you're following along or want to give this a try, I'll add Amazon links below to everything I used. You don't pay more, but I make a small commission when you shop through my links. That helps me to keep making videos, and I really appreciate the support. The cardboard was easy to come by in the recycle bin. I only used one of these boxes for the whole project. I cut the pieces to the right width. Then I marked the taller pieces to fit the canvas and cut those to size 2. Then it was time to get painting. I primed the canvas with a layer of white acrylic to give the other acrylic paints a better flow on the surface. I wanted a super watery vibe for this project, so I picked 3 shades of teal and randomly added large blobs on the canvas. With a damp sea sponge, I moved the paint around, making sure to vary my hand position so I didn't get too much matchy-matchy patterning. I repeated the exact same process on the second and third canvases. Remember I promised you'd get to see my overall lack of drawing ability? Well, here it is. It just wasn't coming out the way I wanted, so I took a break to see what inspo I could find online. Pixabay had the perfect palm silhouette. I printed, then got to cutting. With both trees cut, I dry fit their position on the cardboard. Everything lined up nicely, so I fixed them in place on the cardboard with Mod Podge.
A cup of coffee in the morning and I get the paper. I check the headlines and decide that I am bored. I check my email and I decide to answer later. Another cup of coffee and I drag myself to work. My life is grounded in a firm routine of coffee, sleep, and work. I am not boring, I just stick to what I know.
I did the same with the other two small stencils, then left everything to dry and flatten out for a couple of hours.
When I'm dreaming about a sheep, I go upstairs and get myself another cup of coffee.
I had to make sure to keep the small pieces when I cut out the shapes from the bucket and shovel handles, and thankfully this was my only multi-piece stencil. That was a good thing because the stencil didn't exactly behave.
What I know.
Everything else went pretty much the same way. If you watched any of my other recent cardboard art videos, then you know I bought new X-ACTO blades recently. They worked like a charm on this project and allowed me to get really sharp, clean lines. Oh, but spoiler, that doesn't mean paint will stay inside the lines. Like I said, ill-behaved stencils. Anyway, I got everything cut out, then left them to dry and flatten out overnight under my huge box of craft paints. It's time to start stenciling. Yes! I grabbed my Repositionable spray adhesive by Stenciling and got started. This stuff is great, although it isn't made for paper stencils, so fair warning, if you try this, the stencil adhesion won't be as strong as it would be on a plastic stencil. But it is strong, so be gentle when lifting your stencil up. I plan to use black as my negative space, but I thought it might be too much, especially on this canvas, so I went with the darkest teal color instead. Plan on the fly, that's my motto. Because this is me, this is where stuff went sideways. I did things the same way as the first canvas, but the tiny parts were no match for acrylic paint. Tons of bleed under. I tried to fix it by daubing some paint to mask the bleed, but I opted to wipe off the bucket. I tried to fix the umbrella too, to no avail. In the end, I wiped that off as well. The best solution? Start from scratch. So I grabbed the paint and my damp sea sponge and covered up all my mistakes. Bye-bye. The trees went basically the same way, except I had a better idea about the bleed under. I knew there wasn't much I could do, so I just planned for a lot of cleanup. Luckily, palm trees don't have to be perfect. If I make my own cardboard stencils again, I'll change a few things, starting with larger lines and shapes. The starfish and scallop shells seem to have the least bleed under of all. I'll also use thinner cardboard or cardstock. Maybe I'd prime the edges with something like varnish to seal them up, and I'll cut from the back. There was a slight raised edge created when the X-ACTO blade pushed through and into the cutting mat. And that raised the stencil despite the spray adhesive, and it's why I got so much bleed under in the small areas. But in the end, I think they look okay. Thanks for hanging out while I created upcycled cardboard stencils and some beach-inspired art. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And subscribe down below if you haven't done that yet. I post on Fridays and some Sundays. Every like and new subscriber helps my channel to grow, and I really appreciate all the love. Overall, I'm pretty stoked with how these turned out, and I'll definitely experiment with cardboard stencils again. Have you ever used cardboard or paper stencils? Leave me a comment and let me know how they worked out for you. Thanks so much for watching. Later, peeps!